Calvin Coolidge once said, "I want the people of America to be able to work less for the government and more for themselves. I want them to have the rewards of their own industry." And yet, this piece of wisdom has been largely disregarded by the government in regards to health insurance. While we may have the illusion of healthcare freedom, that is far from the truth. It is for that reason why I, Grayson Sakell, am arguing for the affirmative side of the resolution resolved. The United States should end the tax exemption for employer-sponsored health insurance. I'd like to begin with a definition, that being of tax exemption, which I will define as the federal subsidies provided to corporations which are used to reduce the cost of employer-sponsored health insurance. My first point is that, in this case, tax exemption only benefits those with the highest incomes. In a national report done by the Commonwealth Fund in 2016, it was found that despite the subsidies provided by the United States government, a quarter of the 150 million employer-insured citizens were spending 10% of their income on healthcare, which qualifies them as being underinsured. This is more than double the amount of people underinsured in 2003, and these numbers also saw a sharp incline as recently as 2014. Given this rate of growth over such a relatively short amount of time, it can be concluded that the amount of underinsured people will only grow, much to the disadvantage of the American people. My second point is that tax exemption of employer healthcare develops an unhealthy reliance on cheaper healthcare. According to Dr. David Blumenthal, who was working with the Commonwealth Fund at the time, this, combined with natural increases in insurance costs and the much slower increase of employee wages, means that employees will be spending more and more money on insurance each year, with their wages failing to rise in turn. When presented with the growing amount of underinsured workers mentioned earlier, our current over-reliance in a faulty system is worrying, especially considering that said system actively penalizes workers looking to retire or pursue other occupations. It does this by requiring those people to either risk being uninsured or to pay prices inexorably higher than their previous rates without any income. This isn't all, though, because as stated by the Section 125 cafeteria plans of the IRS, workers who do not enroll in employer-sponsored health insurance are required to pay higher income tax than those who do, reducing employee choice even more. This leads to tax exemption becoming less a benefit to American workers and more a form of government control over what is and is not affordable. My third and final point is that tax exemption of employer-sponsored healthcare is responsible for $260 billion of the national debt each year, making it the nation's third largest expenditure behind Medicare and Medicaid. Eliminating this expenditure, which several acclaimed experts and studies have found to be ineffective, will thus open up a world of opportunities for the government. Ending tax exemption for employer-sponsored health insurance would free up an immense amount of tax money, which could be used to improve the nation's military, infrastructure, educational programs, or any of the other numerous government programs in need. And if not that, then it could allow the government to lower taxes, reducing the strain on American citizens without affecting government funding. This would also decrease the amount of money that needs to be borrowed from other countries, and would lower the national deficit. Either way, everybody wins. Thank you. I have been Grayson Sakell.